You know, one of the most common questions I get asked is this: how hard is it to sell on Amazon? Honestly, it's a fair question, but if you've ever watched a YouTube ad or scroll through social media, you see all these people claiming Amazon FBA is the easiest money you will ever make. They make it sound like you just open an account, ship a few boxes of products, and suddenly you are swimming in cash. But let's be real, selling on Amazon is not a get rich quick scheme. It's a business. And like any other business, it comes with its own challenges. Some parts are easier than people think, and some parts are way harder. So today, I want to unpack this in real, no fluff way. So if you've been wondering whether it's worth jumping in, you will walk away with a clear picture on what to do. Let's start with the easy part first. Amazon gives you traffic, millions of buyers are already on the platform. You don't have to figure out SEO from scratch. You don't need to build your own website, have to convince people that online shopping is safe. People trust Amazon, by the way. If you list a product and it looks professional, shoppers automatically gives you more credibility just because you are on that platform. And that's a huge advantage compared to starting your own Shopify store to try to build a brand new website from scratch. Think about it. If you open a random online shop today, who is going to find you? Probably nobody, unless you run ads or spend months on social media. With Amazon, the eyeballs are already there. The buyers are already there, not just to window shop, but to actually buy products. But here's where it gets tricky. Those eyeballs are looking at your competitors as well. And let's be honest, there's a lot of competition. Amazon is massive, and that means whatever product you are thinking about selling, chances are somebody else is already selling that product on the platform. So the real challenge is not just how hard is it to sell on Amazon. The challenge is, can I stand out on Amazon? And standing out takes work. Let's break it down. Hey, real quick, if you are getting value from this content, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. It literally takes 2 seconds and it helps more people discover this video, and I really appreciate it. The first big hurdle is product research. This is where most new sellers trip up. They pick something they personally like and something they saw trending on TikTok, that they realize later the margins are horrible or the competition is too fierce and vigorous. I remember a friend of mine who launched a garlic press a few years ago, back when everyone on YouTube was teaching selling garlic press. He thought, hey, it's small, it's cheap, it's kitchen friendly, everyone needs one. But when it got on Amazon, there were literally hundreds of garlic presses already selling. The top sellers had thousands of reviews, and it launched its own with 0 review. He spent months trying to compete, but in the end, he had to liquidate his stock. That's the danger of picking the wrong product. On the flip side, I also know someone who launched a really boring product, a set of drawer organizers, nothing flashy, nothing viral, just plain plastic dividers. But the difference was she checked the data, saw there were not too many sellers with strong reviews, and realized there was demand from people wanting tidy homes. she didn't fall in love with the product. She fell in love with the numbers. And guess what? It worked. That's the reality of product research. It's not about what you like. It's about what the market is quietly asking for. Now, let me tell you something important about how Amazon has changed over the years. When I first started selling on Amazon actively back in 2015, it was almost like the Wild West. You could launch pretty much anything, write a basic listing, and if you have a decent product, you will start making sales immediately. Reviews were easier to get, competition was lighter, and Amazon's rules were more relaxed. But today is a completely different game. Amazon has tightened up significantly. They've introduced brand registry, which means you need a trademark to protect your listings. They've cracked down hard on fake reviews, account suspensions, even lawsuits. And the competition has become incredibly sophisticated. You are not just competing with other sellers anymore. You're competing with established brands, private equity firms buying up successful Amazon businesses, and well-funded Chinese manufacturers who can sell direct to consumer at razor-thin margins. I know sellers who were doing great 5 years ago but struggled to adapt when Amazon changed their algorithm, tightened advertising policies, or when their main category became oversaturated. It's not that they were not smart, it's that the landscape shifted right under their feet. The good news is, if you understand these changes going in, you can plan for them. The sellers who thrive today are the ones who build real brands, focus on quality, and think long term instead of just chasing quick wins. But let's say you've cracked the code on product research and found something with real potential. Now comes another big hurdle, finding a supplier. If you are sourcing from China, that means going on Alibaba, talking to factories, negotiating minimum order quantities, dealing with shipping and customs. If you've ever done international trade before, it can feel overwhelming. You are suddenly thinking about freight forwarders, duties, and packaging requirements, even inspections you didn't even know existed. I remember ordering my first shipment years back. It was just a small box of yoga mats. I thought it would be straightforward, but the suppliers misprinted the packaging and then custom held it for a week because the paperwork were not clear. At the time, it felt like the world was ending. Now, looking back, I laugh about it, but at that moment, it was stressful. And that's what I mean when I said you've got to expect bumps in the road. Of course, there are also domestic options like using print-on-demand services or local wholesalers that can make it easier because you are not waiting 6 weeks for a shipment. But still, quality control, cost and consistency are all become things you've got to manage. Then comes Amazon setup itself. Now, this part is easier than most people think, but it does take attention to details. You've got to create your seller account, set up your listings, write product reviews, add keywords, upload photos, and if you mess any of that up, your product won't show up in search. And by the way, those photos, they matter more than you think. Amazon is a visual marketplace. If your product images look dull or amateur, people will skip right past you, even if your product is better. And here's an example. I once saw 2 listings for the exact same silicone ice cube tray, same factory, same mold, same everything. The first seller had those gorgeous lifestyle shots, the tray filled with colorful cocktail ice sitting on a marble countertop. crystal clear lighting, maybe some lime wedges scattered around. It looked like something out of a magazine. The second seller, a single photo of trays sitting on what looked like a kitchen counter with bad fluorescent lighting and a clustered background. Guess which one had 500 plus reviews and was ranking on page 1? The professional photos did not just help with sales, they made the exact product look like it was worth twice the price. Same mode, same factory, but one seller understood that on Amazon, perception is everything. And then the real battle begins, sales. This is where advertising comes in. Amazon, PPC, pay-per-click ads is the main way you get visibility when you are just starting out. And here's the thing, PPC costs money. You will be spending money on ads before you are making a profit, before you even make a profit. A lot of new sellers underestimate this. They think they will be cash flow positive from day one. Nope. In reality, most sellers lose money in the first few weeks and months because they are basically paying Amazon to test which keywords work. And here's an example. I know a seller who launched a pet grooming glove. At first, every sale he made cost him more in ads than he earned in profit. But after a couple of months, he figured out which keywords were driving actual conversions, trimmed his campaign, and suddenly the numbers flipped. That's the process. You bleed a little at first, then you refine. Now, let me pause here and give you a reality check. When people ask, how hard is it to sell on Amazon? What they are really asking is, can I do this? And the honest answer is, you can, but you've got to be willing to treat it like a business, not a side hustle that magically grows itself. The hardest part is not clicking the buttons or opening the account. The hardest part is persistence, because there will be setbacks. You will get a shipment delay at customs. You will have a competitor leave you a nasty review. You will see your ad spend more than you make some weeks, and you've got to keep going in spite of that. That's why some people say it's too hard. Look, it's not that the technical steps are impossible. Anyone can click buttons and fill out forms. It's that mentality that they are just not prepared for the potential bumps in the road. Let's flip it around though. What makes it easier? The systems are already built for you. Amazon handles fulfillment. If you use FBA, that means you don't have to pack boxes in your living room or run to the post office every single day. Amazon also handles customer service. If a buyer wants to return something, Amazon takes care of it. And honestly, that's amazing. I think about my friend who sells handmade candles. She runs her own Shopify site. She personally packed every order. She spent hours every week printing labels and dealing with customer emails. Compare that with an FBA seller shipping in bulk to an Amazon warehouse. Amazon takes care of the rest. That's a massive advantage. Also, there's so much free education out there now, podcast, YouTube, Facebook group. You don't have to figure this out alone. 15 years ago, it was much harder because hardly anyone was teaching this stuff in depth. Today, if you are stuck, you can find a video tutorial in 5 minutes. Now, if you are listening to this and thinking, okay, I want to try this, let me give you some practical next steps. Don't just jump in blindly. And here's exactly what I would do if I were starting today. First, Set your budget expectations up front. You will need money for inventory and also for advertising, professional photos, maybe a trademark application. If you are serious about building a resellable brand, I would say have at least 5 to 10K available before you start. That doesn't mean you will spend it all at once, but you need that cushion because cash flow can be tight in the beginning. Second, spend at least 2 weeks on product research before you buy anything. Use tools like Helium 10 or Jungle Scout to look at search volume, competitors, and estimated sales. But don't just trust the software. Manually check Amazon listings, read reviews, see what customers are complaining about. Sometimes the best opportunities are hiding in the 3-star reviews where people are saying, I wish this product had XYZ. Third, plan for a 6-month timeline before you expect to turn a profit. I see too many people get discouraged after 6 weeks. Amazon is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You need time to optimize your listings, refine your advertising, get reviews, and build momentum. And here's a big one. Avoid trending products, especially anything that's seasonal or fad-driven. Yes, fidget spinners made some people money for a few months, but what happened to those sellers when the trend died? Look for products that solve everyday problems. Boring can be beautiful in business. Finally, start building your brand from day one. Even if you are just selling one product, get a trademark, create proper packaging, build a simple website. Amazon could change their rules tomorrow, and if you are just another generic seller, you are vulnerable. But if you have a real brand, you have options. So let me answer the original question straight up. How hard is it to sell on Amazon? It's as hard as any real business. The steps are simple, but the consistency is hard. The competition is fierce, but the opportunities are still massive. If you are expecting easy money, it's hard. If you are willing to learn, test, and stick with it, it is doable. Think about it this way. Hard is relative. Is it harder than starting a restaurant? No way. You don't have to rent a building, hire staff, or cook food every single day. Is it harder than starting a YouTube channel? Probably not, because you don't have to build an audience from scratch. But is it harder than working a 9 to 5 where someone tells you exactly what to do? Yes, because now you are the one making the decisions. At the end of the day, I think the better question is not how hard is it? The better question is it worth it? And for a lot of people, the answer is yes, because Amazon can change your life. It can give you freedom, income, skills you can use forever, but only if you come in with the right mindset. If you are willing to learn, test, fail, adjust, and keep going, you will make it. And if you are just looking for quick money with no effort, you will quit. Simple as that. So the next time you hear someone say Amazon is too hard, just remember they might not be saying it is impossible. They are really just saying it's not for them. You get to decide if it is for you. And that is where I will wrap this up. How hard is it to sell on Amazon? It's not easy, it's not instant, but it's definitely achievable. And for the people who push through, the rewards can be bigger than they ever imagined. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.